I am so excited to be here with you today because I'm going to tell you about a process that I use as a communication specialist of 8 going on 9 years in April. I'm almost a decade in, which is just so blessed, so wonderful. All praise is due to the Most High for that. But I want to talk to you about how to write spine tingling content. Why? Because spine tingling content that creates emotions and sensations throughout the brain when somebody comes across your business, whether you're a realtor, whether you're in finance, whether you're in healthcare, especially if you have a high ticket service or some type of premium offer, is the golden ticket to unlock trust with your audience. And we know that trust eventually leads to sales when we have the framework of know, like, and trust, because you want people to first know who you are, have brand awareness, know what your business is, what your product is about, who you serve, what problem you solve for that individual. Once they know you, they can begin to like you. Then they start to like the content you're putting out, the stories you tell, the insightful information you give, which is why you need to be showing up online every day in multiple capacities. And then after they know and like you, they can trust you. Trust is where they're like, yeah, I can open up these emails and hear from this person, and I know every time they're going to deliver spectacular information. Or I can download this ebook, like a free lead magnet resource to build your email list, and I know by the title and the headline that it's going to be ultra valuable. Or I can look at their content, go to their social media, their podcasts, whatever type of content that you're going to be creating, they can go to that content and know that you're going to be putting out the best. You're not going to put out fluff. You're not going to have ChatGPT write everything and be like, okay, now it's ready, right? You're going to actually go through and do the diligent work to strategize, sit down and strategize for your 2025 content marketing strategy. And this is kind of like that session here today, so welcome. Let's talk about spine tingling content. First of all, I want you to understand that the reason that I use that adjective spine tingling is because I want you to activate the senses of your audience. I was talking to a client last year, we're still working together, one of the biggest contracts that we have to date. And she was like, wow, the way that you write these emails, they come across as if you're appeasing to the five senses. Like, you have this really innovative and creative way of writing it. And I was explaining, yes, I do that on purpose. I want people to activate their visual senses. I want them to be able to picture their life after working with my client. I want people to basically be able to hear my client in their ears, even when they're done reading the content. Repetition, people learn through repetition, okay? I want them to feel like their transformative life is at their fingertips. And so I'll literally write, that's one of my favorite lines to write and copy that I create for clients, okay? And I also want them to feel like they are heard, like I'm reading their mind, okay? Another client who is a marketing agency as well, she needed assistance with her own marketing, okay? This marketing agency client needed assistance with her marketing, and she wanted me to come in and create her website copy, her sales page, all of those wonderful things. And when I was finished with it, the testimonial she gave, the feedback was so beautiful. She was like, wow, this feels like you're actually reading my mind. This is what a client who signed up within a few days of the sales page being published said to her. It feels like you're actually reading my mind. You know me so well. And she came back and told me that feedback. And that's by design. That's not accidental. I do want people to feel like we know them on such a deep level, because that's how you build trust. That's how you build empathy. I want you to think about your relationships. You can think about your marriage, your best friend. Even when you build relationships with your children, everyone knows, or people who are aware of themselves and aware of the feelings of others know that empathy is one of the most powerful things that we can leverage on this planet. Why? Because it connects us to people. So we have 2 ears to listen and 1 mouth, which means we should always be listening more than we speak, listening intently to our audience, listening intently to the people that come into our business, listening intently to our customers. And if we're listening and taking notes, those notes become copy, okay? And copy is simply words that inspire people to take action, some type of action, which is different than content. Content typically educates people. So it could be like an educational video like this one, like as I'm talking to you, this is content, this isn't copy. Now the headline I wrote for this video is copy, getting you to take the action of looking at the video, but the actual content that I'm talking about is just that, educational content, which can also be seen as marketing. But for the experts out there, view marketing as education. It's going to change your mind. It's going to have you not thinking so anxiety filled about marketing, sales. Like, change the terminology and say, I'm simply educating my audience. I'm simply showing up to build relationships. When you take out the marketing and sales out of it, it decreases the pressure that you feel and increases your confidence, increases the way you're able to show up, and really helps your audience feel like you are trying to build trust and a relationship with them. So let's talk about spine-tingling content. This is a framework. The S stands for story-driven. So I want you to start with a compelling story that actually hooks your audience, where you can share your experiences, case studies, relatable scenarios that demonstrate your expertise. Number one rule in copywriting is, as you're writing this story and content, I want you to be as exaggerated, as adjective filled, as blown up as possible. Then when you go back and edit the story or the copy that you're creating, then you can dim it down a bit. And the reason that as copywriters, we want you to be as immersive and lively as possible is because you're reading this, or your client is reading this on their phone, okay? Unless you're using powerful language, people are going to scroll by and they're never going to see your very well, beautifully written story. And here's a symptom that happens to you. You have loads of people on your Facebook and people barely engage with your content. You have good stories, but they just barely engage. And when they do engage, they don't even go to look at your website. They don't even know what you do. If they can't repeat back to you what you do, that's a tall tale sign you have a communications, education, storytelling issue, a messaging problem, which is what I solve for our clients, okay? So story-driven content. I want you to write down 5 stories that you can tell to your audience about your day-to-day life as a finance professional, as a 1099 contractor, whatever it is. Next, we got to identify pain points. That's the P in spine tingling, okay? I want you to address your audience's specific challenge, very specific challenges and frustrations. I want you to name the emotions they're feeling. I want you to tell stories about the emotions they're feeling. I want you to really talk about those struggles and problems so that you can show that you empathize with them, understand them, and get them to become problem aware of their issue that you can solve. Next, we have I for insights. I want you to provide valuable, actionable insights that set you apart from your competitors. I want you to share your unique perspectives and industry knowledge. This is where I like to include statistics as well. I want you to back your theories up with statistics the way I love to do. What I'll do as an email marketing specialist, as a marketing strategist, I'll talk about the marketing industry, specifically more so the retention marketing and email industry, and what I think about some of the 2024 statistics, okay? Now let's talk numbers and results. A lot of people see social proof and testimonials and they're like, oh, let me just share a testimonial, then I'm done. Oh, let me just plaster this social proof as the pinned comment on my Instagram and that's it. Don't do this. Don't do just that. Let me put it like that. I want you to actually create concrete data. Use statistics in your testimonials for measurable outcomes. Actually sit down, write a case study, or invest in an expert who knows how to write a case study. When I say case study, I want context for the testimonial. Where, when, who, how, why. We learned that in elementary, okay? Where, when, who, how, why. This is the context, the 5-finger context that you need when you are sharing testimonials, so that it's not just, hey, so-and-so achieved X, Y, and Z result, but what was so-and-so going through before they achieved that result? How are they feeling? How did that block their life? Then how did they achieve that result with you? What were they going through while they were working through the process with you? What objections did they have? What mindsets did they have to overcome? Once you solved that issue for them, that was fantastic. Now what's their life like? Have you followed back up with said prospect client? Have you followed back up with that client who already showed you the testimonial? So these are all of the attributes that we need to use to create case studies that are mesmerizing and come to life. And E, the last letter in spine, engagement, I want you to end with a clear CTA. A CTA is a call to action. So for this video, the call to action could be look at the description or look at my profile. That's a call to action, telling you to do a specific action. Something to remember with calls to actions is that you do not want to use too many at once, meaning you don't want to say do this, share that, click here, and then go over. You're doing too many things. This is the power of one message. I'll actually add that blog in the description as well. The power of one is so important so that you don't distract people. Focus on one offer, one client, one problem, one solution, one call to action. That's the power of one, essentially. Now, you can use this framework for all of your content. You can use it for social media, emails, your podcast, your YouTube. You can use this for your website as well, because this is how we're actually going to create spine tingling content. And I want to give you a practical story about how I've done this for clients multiple times, probably over 100 times over at this rate. I'm very good at it at this rate. I can do it in my sleep. But when I was starting out into Fiji Rights, what I would do, I created this workbook that I would send to all of my clients. I created a standard operating procedure that I would send to all of my clients and still do to this day, okay? Our 8-week accelerator clients, they receive this. Our agency clients receive it as well, but it's more done for them instead of me walking them through it for the agency side. They have a lot of the resources, but they don't have the time. So they're like, girl, you come in and do it, okay? Versus the coaching clients that are like, hey, I'm not an 8-figure, 7-figure business yet, but can you teach me how to use words to do the heavy lifting in my business so that I can be eventually, right? And so I will actually sit down and have a whole list of 100 power words, okay? And I have them in these different categories. And I will show the client this and say, hey, which ones do we think most align with your brand? Now, when I say powerful words, this is power language, spine tingling, awe-inspiring, mind-blowing, activate, instant access, right? All of these adjectives and powerful language that will literally extract somebody's attention from viewing their iPhone or viewing their laptop and pull their eyeballs right to your website, right to your social media caption. That's the hidden secret way, by the way. Secret is another power word that whenever people see something is hidden, it's secret, it's unearthed, there's a vault of information they don't have. Humans are like, I need to get to that information. I need to acquire that knowledge. And so you can use that as a psychology hack to be like, okay, let me sit down and strategize on powerful language that aligns with my brand. So not using powerful language just for the sake of using it, but going through your corporate communications branding guide and creating your branding guide, right? So that you can be confident enough to show up and to use that language in your marketing, in your ebooks, in your emails, in your website, in your sales page, your podcast. Even when you're speaking to clients, having that corporate communications just helps you to show up as more confident. You know what you're talking about because we sat and strategized about it. You know what to say on sales calls because we sat down and strategized about it. And so it's so phenomenal helping clients in this capacity, because it takes you from coming across as a newer entrepreneur that doesn't really know how to articulate themselves yet to someone who is confident, expert, professional, CEO mentality, moving entrepreneur that knows what they're talking about, knows how to receive new clients on demand, knows exactly what to say, knows how to empathize with their audience, knows how to teach their audience and break it down in a way that makes sense, aka storytelling, because humans learn best through stories, okay? And so if that interests you, go ahead, check out the link in the description to apply to work with me in a group setting or a one-to-one setting, whichever one is going to be more beneficial for you. If you got any value out of this video, I would just absolutely love it if you like it. If you learned something new today, share it, save it, and I will see you in the next video. Talk soon.